Hand it over. It's over. It's done. You're no longer America's team.
I'd be disappointed.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are we doing? Has Jerry given up?
All right, so a lot to react to there, bro.
It's the same old, same old.
How do we do that? How do you do the same damn thing and get something different?
When the Dallas Cowboys made the decision to hire Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach, the reaction was swift and largely negative. And to be fair, it's easy to understand why. It felt like it came out of nowhere. Schottenheimer had been in the league for years, but his head coaching window seemed to have closed more than a decade ago. The move was unexpected, unorthodox, and even uninspiring to some. But what's done is done. And from that moment, the real question became, how would Schottenheimer fill out his coaching staff? Because you don't find great head coaches without great partners. The sideline is a team within the team, and good organizations get it right. In Kansas City, it's Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. In Philadelphia, Vic Fangio and Jeff Stoutland, two of the best at their respective crafts, Nick Sirianni. Dan Campbell had Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, both now head coaches in their own right. Not to mention offensive line coach Hank Fraley. Jim Harbaugh brought one of his guys, Jesse Minter, from Michigan to turn around one of the worst defensive units in the league into the best. Kevin O'Connell partnered with Brian Flores. Kyle Shanahan brought back Robert Saleh. Even Dan Quinn in Washington got the best version of Cliff Kingsbury to help end an NFC Championship game drought. The formula is simple. To elevate a team, you need top-tier minds, aligned, focused, and relentless. If Schottenheimer wanted to take the Cowboys offense to the next level, he had to nail his hire. He did. In a quiet move that sent shockwaves to Arizona, the Cowboys pried away offensive line coach Klayton Adams, a name unfamiliar to most fans, but deeply respected inside NFL circles. To make it happen, Dallas had to give him a promotion, offensive coordinator. He won't call plays, but he'll have his fingerprints all over this offense, especially the run game. He'll be side by side with Schottenheimer and new offensive line coach Connor Riley, designing the run schemes, preparing the trenches, and building the identity. The latter is what makes this move possibly the Cowboys' most important acquisition of the offseason. To understand why, we've got to rewind back to where Adams began carving his reputation. Before Colorado became Coach Prime country, Adams was already making noise in Boulder, and the NFL noticed. In 2019, the Indianapolis Colts, fresh off a change in offensive line leadership, brought Adams in as an assistant offensive line coach. What followed was nothing short of remarkable. The Colts, who hadn't cracked the top 10 in rushing in nearly 20 years, surged to a top 10 ground game behind Marlon Mack of all people. Center Ryan Kelly, previously seen as a solid piece, turned into a Pro Bowler under Adams' guidance and got a big money extension to match. When other teams came calling for Adams in 2021, the Colts promoted him to tight ends coach just to keep him in the building. He responded by improving that unit as well. But there's a key point here. While Adams thrived with the tight ends, the offensive line, now fully under Chris Strausser, took a step back by 2022. Strausser would eventually move on from Indianapolis and would be hired by the Texans, who boasted one of the league's worst offensive lines during his tenure, which got him fired in Houston. The difference with Adams was crystal clear. Under his watch, the Colts allowed the second fewest sacks in the league in 2020 and finished top 10 in rushing in both years. Rookie Jonathan Taylor finished third in rushing his first year, and the team produced multiple Pro Bowl linemen in the same season for the first time since 2006. That's not a coincidence. That's coaching. Enter Arizona. When Jonathan Gannon took over the Cardinals, he knew he needed to fix the trenches. He hired Klayton Adams in 2023 as offensive line coach, and immediately the turnaround began. In his first season, the Cardinals finished 4th in rushing yards, 2nd in yards per carry, and led the NFL in 200-yard-plus rushing games. It was the first time in 44 years the Arizona Cardinals had a top 5 rushing offense. And it wasn't just a flash in the pan. In 2024, with 0 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line, Arizona allowed the 5th fewest sacks and the 3rd fewest pressures in the entire league. In just 2 years, Adams led the Cardinals to the 3rd best rushing attack in football, behind only the Eagles and Ravens. The biggest recipient of the Adams effect? James Conner. Connor's production with Adams was night and day compared to his previous years. His vision improved, his efficiency spiked, he looked faster, sharper, and more explosive, and it wasn't just him, the system was elevating the entire line. So how did the Cowboys get him? They did the one thing Arizona couldn't counter. They gave him a promotion to offensive coordinator, and yes, the role may be rooted in the trenches, but make no mistake, Adams is one of the most valuable pieces on the entire Dallas coaching staff. From day one, Adams made it clear what he's about.
The same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game, be aggressive, run, hit. I think that every decision that we make schematically needs to lean that direction. So if there's gray area, what is going to allow these guys to play more free and run and hit and be violent?
That violence, it's calculated, it's controlled. It's not just about hitting people. It's about doing it with a purpose. Adams understands personnel. He understands fit. He adapts to the strengths of his players, not the other way around.
You know, again, first and foremost is you got to do what the guys do well.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was in Indy in 2021 and we ran the ball well that year, it was mostly outside zone. We went into our first year in Arizona saying, okay, we're going to force the issue here and be an outside zone team. And that wasn't really what fit our players and James, our tailback, the best. And so we had to pivot and figure out, you know, what do we do well? Oh, okay, well, our center is a really good puller. Let's figure out a way to do more of these things.
That mindset mirrors what Brian Schottenheimer preached in his opening press conference. Building systems around your talent, not forcing your talent into a system.
Obviously, the starting point for me would be things that our players do well. You're always going to start with that.
With the selection of Tyler Booker to solidify the interior next to Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe, as well as one of the better run-blocking right tackles in Terrence Steele, the Cowboys have the tools for Adams to reshape the identity of the offensive line and run game. But as he stated, this isn't about lining up and running the ball 40 times a game just because it looks good on the stat sheet.
And so I don't think that you go into a game and say, like, well, we're just going to run it 70 times and we're going to see, you know, what the score ends up being.
This is about building a run game that actually matters, that sets the tone, controls the tempo, and gives the Cowboys the ability to dictate defenses instead of reacting. Gone are the days of empty rushing attempts just to check a box. Under Adams, the Cowboys will run with intention, variation, and design. Married to the pass game, that will create more explosives from both ends. Klayton Adams isn't a headline. He's not a soundbite. He's not here for the cameras. He's here to build, to mold, to turn an offense that's been chasing an identity into a unit that imposes it. He doesn't need the hype. He creates results. This hire, it won't dominate sports radio. But when the Cowboys line up this fall, when they punch a defense in the mouth, when they move the chains on 3rd and 2, you'll know the Klayton Adams effect. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button on your way out and subscribe if you're new to the channel and enjoy the content that you see. Until next time, Skywalker out.